Hey there, I'm Jensen. Today is Monday, July 19th, and I have all the stories you need to know to get in the loop tonight. First, a member of the U.S. women's gymnastics team has tested positive for COVID-19. Officials have identified her as Kara Aker, an alternate on the team. Her dad confirmed that she was fully vaccinated, so this is a breakthrough case of COVID-19. So far, she has no symptoms. The team, which arrived in Japan on July 15th, has stayed at their accommodations and practice venues and hasn't really spent any time exploring Tokyo. Another alternate team member, Leanne Wong, has been called a close contact of Kara Aker and is now in isolation, but so far she's tested negative. The games are set to open on Friday with a state of emergency in force in Tokyo, which means almost all venues will be without any fans as new cases rise in the capital. The women's gymnastics team begins competing on Sunday. And some experts are now recommending that everyone over the age of 2 should wear masks this coming school year. And that's even if you're vaccinated. This comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics. They recommend in-person learning and urge everyone to get the COVID-19 vaccine if they're eligible. But since a large portion of kids still aren't able to get the vaccine, the AAP says that universal masking should be in place regardless of vaccination status. And this guidance actually deviates from the CDC, which updated its guidance last month to say that vaccinated staff and students don't need to wear masks in school. The CDC also isn't advising schools to require shots for teachers and vaccine-eligible students. Now, to be clear, the AAP didn't go as far as recommending requiring a vaccine, but it did say that it may become necessary for school districts to do so in the future. But in Ohio, a push is being made by lawmakers that goes directly against those recommendations. Senate Bill 209 would keep the state school board, the Ohio Department of Education, or individual school districts, boards of education, from requiring anyone to wear facial coverings in a public education setting. K-12 schools and universities wouldn't be able to require masks for students, teachers, staff members, or visitors. And masks wouldn't be required for in-person learning, any school athletic event, or other school function. Now, such mandates could still come from outside the education system, as Senate Bill 209 notes that health departments still have the authority to, quote, take action to prevent the spread of a communicable or contagious disease. The bill, introduced by Republican State Senator Andrew Brenner, is unlikely to impact school districts' decisions for the fall, as lawmakers are on break until after most schools return to class. And another bit of legislation could be heading to the Ohio State House next week, but this time it centers around marijuana. State Representative Casey Weinstein of Hudson plans to introduce legislation for the wholesale legalization, regulation, and taxation of recreational marijuana. In the bill, Ohioans would be allowed to have 5 ounces of marijuana and up to 15 plants for personal use. Those looking to set up retail locations would apply for licenses, of course. Weinstein said it would be subjected to normal sales taxes and an additional 10% tax, which would then go back to the communities hosting the dispensaries. The biggest roadblock involves how the program operates. Republicans are working on their own version of legislation that would instead expand the current medical marijuana program. Both programs would have to win over Governor Mike DeWine, whose office says he doesn't support legislation. And before I go, listen up, Ohio pals. I know it isn't spooky season just yet, but you can get in the spirit a little bit early this year with a haunted house-themed restaurant. The Haunted House restaurant in Cleveland is, of course, themed around all things haunted and horror. There are horror movie influences all around the place, and even the menu is based on horror flick favorites. They have Scooby snacks and a Jaws-inspired pizza, and despite the spooky theme, the Haunted House is actually meant to be enjoyed by the whole family. But that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Jensen, and now you're in the loop.